Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do the fish and how they get stuffed. The stuff you'll need to stuff them is, of course, we have the catnip. And I use a paper towel roll. You can't really use anything plastic because the static electricity, the catnip just won't go in the fish. And I like to do this because of the stuffing. It's a wooden spoon, and I like to use the wooden end. For some reason, the wooden stuff works and cardboard stuff works better than plastics or anything because static electricity. And so we have our tail, and I'm going to be doing the holiday one. And the first thing I do is, because I have 4 pieces, this is just, you probably don't need to know all this, but just in case I get hit by a bus or win the lottery. So I usually put the opposites together. And then I take and find the end where I cut the boas. This is how I do the boas. You know, they're all cut in pieces. And I find there's a little end right here. And I put it in between, like this. Okay, so that's how that part is done. And then I take my fish, and I have, as you can see, I have the right sides. The one side looks a lot nicer than the back side, but I have the right sides facing each other. And I put, the mouth is here where the straight end is, and then the tail is here, and I line this up with the end. And then I line the other side also, so that it looks kind of like this. And then I pull the feathers down on the sides so that it lays kind of neat. And I do pin them, so of course I had everything ready but the pins. And now my hands are full. And I usually have to use these long pins. Now I've gotten to the point where I only need to pin the tails. I don't have to pin the rest of the fish together. Oh, that's Molly barking. Ouch. So, see, as you can see this, I have this pinned. And then I have to make sure that all the feathers stay inside. And now I'm going to start sewing. So I'm going to start down here at the mouth. See if the phone slides down while I'm sewing. When I get towards the tail, I do triple stitch the tail because the cats seem to pull out the feathers first. So at this point I'm sewing at the tail, removing the pins so that I don't sew them, break my needles. And I go forward and backward at the tail part. I'll show you in a second. And constantly I have to make sure the feathers stay inside the pocket there. And I'm almost around. Okay, so as you can see here, I've sewed in the edges, and there at the tail I triple sewed just straight across, you know, try to keep it simple, and then I sewed it the whole way around. And now I take my two of my fingers and stick them inside, and I try to gather up the feathers and the tails. You got to be careful too not to sew the fleece tails onto the sides, and I've done that. I've had to rip a whole fish apart. And so, pulling out. Oops. Now see, I sewed the feather onto the side, which is no big deal because I can just trim that off. Looks like I got more than I thought. See, anytime you're trying to record something or show somebody something, it's just never quite right. And this is where this part comes in handy. I take this end and I follow along the seam, you know, to get the shape of the fish back. So there's the fish. Kind of tuck in the mouth a little bit. Then, sometimes I'm too tight and you have to bend the end a little bit, and I put it in to the mouth. And then I get some of the catnip, and it's better to have it in a bowl, because what I do is I kind of scoop it in. I try not to go too crazy. And once I have it scooped in there, you can see it. Then I just let it go down to the tail. And then I take the stuffing and I try to get, I just try to get whatever in there that I can. This takes more stuffing, obviously. It's a bigger thing than just the little pillows. I just shake it a little bit. And then once I have it stuffed, I use this again, and I just try to flatten it out and spread it through the entire fish. It's still a little, maybe just a little bit up here at the top. Okay, so we got this far. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the mouth closed. Usually when I have a whole bunch, I'll do them like assembly line, one right after the other. Because I'm showing this, I'll just sew this real quick. Cut off the little, snip off the little threads. So now I have the mouth sewn closed. And now I'm going to put the gill in, which Melissa can never seem to find because she always hangs my fish upside down. The gills should be on the bottom. So I try to look at the pattern, and in this case the joy's down, so I'm going to try to do the gill up this way. Just like a curved sewing in the middle. And again, you know, you sew back and forth to make sure it doesn't unravel. And then once I have that part done, another part that really helps me, because these are a little more tedious, is I put the tails together. And I take my scissors, and it makes a really nice touch. Oops. To just do a little diamond cutout of the tails. If you guys, some of them are a little bit, I'm trying to hurry so this video doesn't go on forever. There. It doesn't have to be perfect, because once they hang and stuff, they look cute. There. So there's the fish. Here we have the tail, right? The gill upside down. So here's this, and the fish. And there's a fish that is complete. And I think they look really cute. This is the first time I've done this pattern. Okay. Thank you.